Hi, hello, how are you? Amanda, Seint artist, and I'm going to do my makeup today. Today I'm going to do full coverage makeup. So I'm going to use the buff brush because it's a denser brush. The denser the brush, the fuller the coverage. And I'm going to be contouring with my favorite detail brush. So here it is. This is Seint makeup. It's a cream-based 3D foundation system. We do have a setting powder. If you have oily skin, if you like a more matte finish, we do have one that just clips right into your compact. Everything fits into a tile. Everything fits into one compact. It's foolproof. It's good. It's just good. My kids are home, so we're going to get to listen to that too. All right, so let's dive right in. I am going to start with my setting spray because I use it as a primer. I'm just going to spray it on a beauty blender because I feel like I get a more even coverage. So I'm starting with my cheeks. That's my problem area. And so I'm just going and I'm putting it all over my face, under my eyes. You can put it on your eyelids, but I've already done my eyeshadow. And that's it. Now it's just gonna sit there, it's gonna dry, and I'm gonna go into my buff brush on the big side and I'm gonna rub it in to my setting powder because I have combination skin. I get oily right here in the middle of my forehead and down. I also get oily around my nose. So I'm just tapping a light amount in, and because it's well pressed, it's very fine. It's not going to add texture. It's not going to accentuate fine lines, pores, or any of that. This is just going to combat my oily skin. So as the oil comes out, it's going to absorb into that powder, and it's just gonna help combat it and keep it at bay. It's makeup, it's not magic. So if you have oily skin, you're probably gonna look shiny, and that's okay, because again, if it's holding back your oiliness, if your makeup's not moving all day, just think about what that might be doing to your skin. It's going to age it. It's going to make you break out. It's going to dry it out. You want makeup that lives with your skin, not on your skin, and isn't a mask. You want something living with your skin. Yeah. Okay, so next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to color correct a little bit. I'm going to go into Frenchie. This is a lip and cheek color. Super pretty, and I'm just going to put this under my eye here a little bit, and what this is going to do is it's just color correcting that little bit of darkness I have under my eye. I just tap a tiny bit on my finger and then I spread it out and make it super thin because I'm just correcting the color. I'm not covering the color. There's a difference. Next, I'm going to go into Mango. That's this color here. It's darker than my skin tone. It's a little more on the orangey side, and that's going to help me with this discoloration and this. So I'm just going to take my brush on the small end and I'm just going to tap a little bit in. And I'm just going to sweep this over the discoloration I have right here and right here. And that's it. So what you're doing, and now I'm just blending it out and spreading it out so that it's not a full amount of coverage. It's just muting down those colors. So when I put like a pink cheek on, if I'm putting any color on, it's not going to pull through. And that's it. I have a little here, so whatever's left on my brush, I'll just... All right, so let's do our makeup. I am going to go in with the larger end and I'm gonna go into my main highlight right here. Now, if you look at these look empty. They're not. This is still gonna last me with what tiny bit you have in here. This will still last me another week, week and a half. It will still, all of our tiles last just as long as a traditional foundation, but you will use 100% of it. And a little goes a long, long way, which is why they last so long. When you're dealing with pigmentation, our makeup is an 80% pigmentation, whereas traditional foundations are 18. So as you put it on, it'll thin out when it spreads. This is highly pigmented, so you don't need to put the whole thing all over your face. We're gonna put the makeup on according to the colors that are on our face. It's kind of a paint by numbers kind of a thing. So I'm gonna push this into my main highlight. Because it's over here, I'm able to pick it up a little easier. And I'm just gonna put some on, there it is. And I'm gonna put this, typically when I put my makeup on, I go right here along my jawline and I do kind of a beard. But because I'm doing a fuller coverage, I am gonna bring it up onto my cheek over that discoloration, and I'm doing a fuller coverage up my cheek, not under my eyes, but up my cheek to my cheekbone here. And that's it, that's the only difference. That's what makes it fuller coverage. I'm not putting it all over my face, which is probably what everybody thought I was gonna do. So again, typically right here on my jawline, but because it's a fuller coverage, I'm just gonna bring it up a little higher onto that cheek area. And I'm just blending this and bringing this, And from here, what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna push this up into my nose. I get a little bit red, and instead of applying makeup, I bring the makeup to it. That way it doesn't settle, it's not gonna crack and gather. That's a good rule of thumb with any of the makeups, traditional or Seint. All right, next I'm gonna go into that main highlight again, and I'm just gonna go right up here, and I like to go from point to point and do kind of an arch and blend it a bit, and that's it. That's my main highlight. That's all that I needed. And that's why they last so long, because I didn't have to put a full coverage on, turning my face one color. I just put the fuller coverage where it needed it. If you maybe need fuller coverage on your chin, same concept, just bring it all the way down. If you need full coverage on your forehead, same thing, color correct it and cover your forehead. That's the difference. I'm gonna go into the smaller end and I'm gonna push into my brightening highlight, which is about a shade or two lighter. And I'm gonna brighten right here and down my nose a bit. I'm gonna put a little more on later when I'm contouring it. I'm gonna do a little Charlie Chaplin here. And then right down here, I'm gonna put a little bit on my chin. And all I'm doing right now is bringing the brightness in. And then I'm just gonna blend this in to that main highlight. And I kind of prefer steepling this on rather than wiping it, so I know I'm not picking the product up, I'm blending it out. And so I'm just bringing that light to my main. Here, I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm steepling over the brow and blending it into that main highlight I put on. And I'm gonna kind of leave the nose alone for that little bit that I put on right here until, again, I'm contouring, which is what we're gonna do next. All right, I am going to take my detail brush on the edge here and I'm gonna push in to my indigo. That's the color I'm using. And I'm just gonna go right here. I didn't put any makeup on. I'm just gonna stamp this up there because we have natural shadowing up here. And so all I'm doing is accentuating that shadow. My kids sounding wonderful. They're not fighting, so I'm gonna call this a win. All right, so there we go. Just making a natural shadow. It looks very natural. I have one layer of makeup on my forehead. Looks like I've got layers. I've got 3 colors: brightening, main, contour. All one color, or all one layer. But it's dimensional, which is great. All right, I'm gonna go in on the side here, and I am going to draw 2 lines on either side of my nose. I'm going kind of on the top and not the side because it's gonna straighten it out. And here's the trick to your nose. You want the lines, you wanna buff them out and blend them out, and you wanna bring them to your brows. So as I buff and blend, I'm bringing it up to my brow because our shadowing naturally goes there. And that is how I contour. I'm gonna put a little more on and I'm just gonna contour the tip here, just like that. And this just makes it a little straighter. And I'm just buffing this and blending this. I'm gonna take my finger, I'm gonna pick up a little bit of my brightening, and I'm gonna draw a little line down the middle of my nose here. And I'm gonna add a little bit to my tip right here. Okay, I'm gonna take the small end of my detail brush and I'm just gonna tap this and tap, tap, tap. I'm gonna buff this in and blend it on the sides, and I've contoured my nose. It's just a little bit straighter, has a little more structure to it. Cheapest nose job you'll ever have. All right, now I'm gonna go in and I am going to push this onto the edge. I'm gonna go in front of my earlobe, right here, and then I'm gonna come down just like that. And all I'm doing here is adding structure to the back part of my jaw. This just makes your face look a little slimmer. My girlfriend says this drops her 10 pounds. She's like, do that magic thing on my jaw. And I say, you got it. So again, I'm just gonna go in front of my earlobe and follow my jawline. And then I'm also bringing it up towards my cheekbone where I'll contour again. Everybody does that 3 when they contour. I'm doing the same thing. I'm just not drawing a massive amount of product on my face that's not necessary. I'm putting it in places and blending it where it needs to be. But it just is a nice way to structure that jaw by adding that shadow. And then I'm just gonna pull it down a little bit just because, I mean, it's a shadow. Shadows fade. Hello. All right, so let's contour the cheeks. My cheekbones, I like them, so I'm going to accentuate them. So we have natural shadowing on our cheekbones. We're really just following that. So I'm gonna put it on the edge here. You feel for your cheekbone right here, and you're going to come down for me, in a curve. I have more of a heart-shaped face, so I do a curve. If you have a longer face, you're gonna wanna come in. If you have a more rounder face, come down, because it'll elongate your face. All right, everybody's face is different. If you have questions about your contouring, message me and I can show you the best way to contour it that I would recommend. All right, so same thing over here, top of that cheekbone, and I'm curving mine in, and then I'm gonna blend it. So I'm just gonna push this up a little bit, steeple over it, and I'm going to under blend it, which just means you're gonna see it and it's gonna look a little bit scary. So I am contouring. Oh my Atlanta, these children. I'm not going to yell at them. I'm not going to yell at them. I'm not that mom today. That's a lie, I'm gonna be. All right, next I'm gonna go into my bronzer. I like adding some warmth to my skin. I'm gonna use the buff brush to do it on the small end. So our Bella bronzer is beautiful. It's the favorite bronzer I've ever found, especially as far as color. So I'm gonna use this a little bit as my cheek color. I'm gonna start at the top right here, and I'm gonna come down just over. I had my contour here, I have my bronzer right here. And then I'm gonna put a little bit right here just to add warmth to the high point of my forehead, because this is typically where your sun hits when you're getting color. That's one of the first places. And I'm just gonna steeple, and I'm blending this down to my cheeks almost like a blush. That's how I like to do it, especially in the summer. So a little bit here, and then I'm just coming up here and I'm following along the top of that contour. Now, as I'm blending this right here, I'm also blending my contour, which is why I under blended it, because otherwise I could blend it away and out, and that's not the goal. So I'm just bringing this down like a blush, and that's it. Next, I'm gonna go in to my cheek color, which is Frenchy. I like doing my cheeks before my under eyes, because if I get a little out of sorts and it goes too high, I can push it back down when I'm brightening under my eye. So I'm just gonna push in a little bit into this, and I'm gonna smile. And the way I like to do my cheeks, when I'm not smiling, I don't have that plump, supple apple, so I'm gonna build to where it is. So I'm gonna smirk a little bit, have a little smile. I'm gonna start at the middle and bring it down. I love Frenchy. It's just a really nice nude color. All these colors offer foundational coverage, and they're also buildable. The first time you put it on, you're probably gonna over apply, or you'll be scared you're gonna over apply and you'll under apply. It's all about relearning the way it is, and it's fun. Makeup's fun. I've always loved playing with makeup, which is probably why I'm selling it now. But I really love playing with makeup. I absolutely love all the new ideas, all the new things out there, but look at how pretty that cheek is with just that little bit of Frenchy. So you just add a little and then blend. And if you feel like you need a little more, add a little more, and then do it until you don't need any more. All right, so I am just putting this on, building to my apples. So nice, my children, y'all. Okay, now I'm gonna do my under. I'm gonna go back to my detail brush. I'm gonna go to the small end, and I'm gonna go into my brightening color, and I'm just stamping this onto the tip. And I'm gonna put it in just two places. I'm not gonna do that big thing under the eye. I'm gonna go right here in this corner and build a little triangle. And then I'm gonna come up here and I'm gonna build right here. Then I'm gonna use the brush and whatever's left on it, and I'm gonna go with little circles and I'm gonna bring them together. But I'm using a really, really light touch. And I'm just gonna steeple, I'm gonna use little circles, and what this does, I mean, you can look under my eye. I look like I'm more awake. It's kind of giving me an eye lift, and it just brightens the face. I'm just gonna stamp right here where that contour is. And if my blush got too high, this is where I can push down and I can combat it back down, but it's just so nice. You want very little product, but when you're brightening, you need to keep in mind, this is a shade or two lighter than your actual skin tone. Just blending that out. So it's going to look like a lot of product. It's just lighter product. And so it's gonna look thick. You want a very little light touch. You want very little product, because if you put too much on, it's going to accentuate any bags. I bring it past the soft tissue mark. So you have your orbital bone here. I bring mine a little lower so it doesn't accentuate any of the soft tissue area, which can make it look like you have bags when you don't. I also like to use a light product so it doesn't settle into fine lines and it doesn't accentuate fine lines. So again, I'm gonna push into my brightening and I'm gonna do this corner right here. No, thank you. Nope, no, thank you. I'm busy. Okay, I'll be right there. Be right there. I'm almost done. I'm almost done. I'm gonna tap into that corner right there. And then I'm going to get right up here. And then again, bringing it all together. You can use little circles. You can tap it just like that. And I bring it down onto that orbital bone. And again, it's a little amount of product, a really light touch, and it's so good. Now, keep this in mind. This is makeup. It's not magic. So if your makeup moves, if your makeup settles, that's normal. That's not something wrong with the makeup. That's actually good, because if it's not moving all day and it's matte and it stays, what's that doing to your skin? You want something living with your skin. You want something movable. You want something that's not suffocating your pores. So think about that. If your makeup moves, if your makeup settles, take your finger and tap over it and reset it. All it's going to do is spread it back out. You don't need to add more product. You just need to put it back where it belongs. And that's what's nice about Seint makeup, is you're not piling on, piling on, piling on. All you have to do is reset at the end of the day, middle of the day, just depending on your face. All right, I'm going to take my big end and I'm going to push in to my setting powder, because remember, I've got combination skin. If you don't have this problem, if you have dry skin, you don't need to do this. But I'm going to tap where I get dry. So again, I'm just going right there in the middle of my forehead. I'm going to go right here around my nose, right here under my lip, and then I'm going to go right here on the top of my cheek. I don't believe you need to set under your eyes with powder. If you do, set on your cheeks and bring it up, but powders can accentuate fine lines and wrinkles. So if you are going to set under your eyes, you could have the potential to add texture. It just depends on your face. All right, I'm going to take my setting spray. I'm going to spray it up and let it fall on my face. And that's it. I'm going to do my lips because I found this really pretty lip color, and I'm going to do my lip trick. I'm going to take my finger, I'm going to push into my indigo. I'm going to go right here under my lip. I'm going to take that detail brush and I'm going to buff it. Just like that. So good. And this, all this does is it's making it look like I've got a shadow under my lip. And so it just gives it that curl. You can take your brightening, little bit, tiny bit, and you can hit the peaks of your Cupid's bows and then just follow it down. And this is gonna highlight it and it's gonna give it another curl. All right, I am going to take my finger, I'm gonna go into Bella Bronzer right here, and I'm gonna get a tiny bit. It's very creamy, so when you pick it up, a little goes a long way. Your Bella Bronzer is gonna last you over a year, because a little goes a long way. And I'm just gonna put this around the edge of my lip like a lip liner, and just define my lip and build. Remember to build. Okay, and I'm gonna do the same thing down here. All I'm doing is kind of putting on a lip liner. So it's on my lip. I'm gonna go into the color Ruby. It's this really pretty bright one, but I put that Bella Bronzer on, so keep that in mind. So this one's super pigmented, really scary. And I'm just gonna tap this over my lip. And it makes this really pretty pinky nude color. And it mixes with that Bella Bronzer. So good. All right, that's my face. That's full coverage. The only difference between the way I normally do my makeup and the full coverage is I took my mane, and instead of ending here, I ended here. That's it. That's it. If you want to try this makeup, message me. Have a good day. Sorry about the kids. They're suddenly quiet. I bet my house is flooding. Have a good day.